Hello, you are listening to On The Topic podcast, fresh out of Portsmouth and Southsea for a new episode. And this week you'll find me rather excited in the House of Mouse. I'm Dan.
And I've got lots of exciting things to share with you, listener, this week from all things Disney, Marvel and beyond. I'm Alex. And before we get into all of that, Dan, how have you been? What have you been up to? Anything exciting?
What have I been up to? I've finished Cobra Kai Season 5, which we'll no doubt review. Didn't get through it as quickly as I did with Season 4, which is very bizarre. Because I think if anyone is a Cobra Kai fan and has listened to our Season 4 review, I did it in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I did it over about 5. And the luxury I've had this week of working from home, being a hybrid worker, I could sit down and watch an episode with my lunch, which is absolutely beautiful. So looking forward to diving and talking to you about that, Alex. So you can get your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. Obviously, apart from She-Hulk, which again we'll probably talk about. Everything sort of seems to be falling in line for us now, Alex. This is a bit odd, but
yeah, it's lovely stuff.
Good.
Well, I've started Cobra Kai, obviously, a little bit slower, but I mean, I'm always behind you, Dan. Episode 3, I think, and it's wholesome, it's nostalgic, and it's fun. So I'm enjoying it. So I'll take my usual snail's pace, but it's more of the good stuff, and I think it's very, very enjoyable so far.
You've got time. It's all good. Because I'll be in Northern Ireland next weekend. I'm visiting another Cobra Kai fan and also a good friend. And my other half is doing the Great Causeway Marathon. Because, that's what she likes to do. So other than that, I've done a great deal. Although I tell a lie, I visited another local brewery at the weekend. I thought they were called Make. They are not. They're called Mackie. So spelt Make, but all one word, Mackie. They've just expanded and they've gone into a bigger unit, I guess. They were based in Southsea. They're now just off the Eastern Road. Oh, some of the beers were beautiful. We went in there and they brought over a tasting tray. There was about 12 beers on this thing, Alex. It was wonderful. And then, of course, we sat down, had some quiet beers, and then went home and had some fish and chips, where I think you texted me and said, Dan, have you seen the Secret Invasion trailer yet? It's all kicking off at D23, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I had to try and sober up and squint my eyes and see what was going on.
Focus on the screen, yeah.
Yeah. But if anyone's in the area, and of course, people know that I'm a bit of a craft beer hipster. Obviously, you've got Staggeringly Good, worth checking out, but try Mackie as well. Wonderful.
Great recommendation, yeah.
What about you, Alex? I think last time we recorded, you were going to Italy.
Really? Was it that long ago?
It's been that long ago. And just to revisit what grinds our gears, did anyone clap on this flight?
No, not this flight. It was a late night flight, so we got to Italy at midnight, give or take. So I think there were some tired people, and there was not an awful lot of enthusiasm. But thankfully, no, I didn't have to have some air rage and get locked up in an Italian prison with no doubt still their delicious food. No one claps. No, Italy was lovely. Of course it is. Land's beautiful. We saw lots of it. We went to Lake Como, which is a train ride away. Wonderful stuff done. So I have a lot of love and respect for the Italian people, their food and their coffee. So I can hugely recommend the country, but also the city is wonderful. So lovely time, lovely relaxing time. Now, clearly a fond memory because it's quite a few weeks later, back into swing things. But look, that's not a bad thing because we're back to what we call our bread and butter, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, because this week, sure enough, we are going to be covering Disney's Expo, well, a D23 Expo. And we've got some interesting insights, tidbits, and headlines, and we've got some honourable mentions. And there was a good mix actually. I was quite enjoying the expo overall. I think this year, I don't think there's any surprises, but I think there was just enough to whet our appetites. I think there was some interesting stuff coming out of that event.
Oh, definitely. I think just a warning for our listeners: this first half of the episode is probably Marvel heavy. But of course, as we get into our honorable mentions, the second half is going to be a little bit more of a mix. I would imagine.
Yeah.
I think I've shown you my notes. I think there's some good honorable mentions in there, to be honest. A bit of Star Wars, bit of Disney,
bit of Indiana
Pixar.
Jones. Yeah, loads.
So let's kick it off with the Marvel side of things, Alex.
Yes, let's do.
Of course, as we mentioned, Secret Invasion got a trailer, which was revealed at the panel, and it looks like Nick Fury is going to be the spotlight of this series.
This is my war alone. And I'm the last person standing between them and what they really want.
Well, is it Nick Fury, though? That is the question. But I mean, they've already pulled the scroll thing on us on Spider-Man Far From Home. So I'd like to think that actually this is a legit one. But with the comic book, the graphic novel series, which is phenomenal, by the way, it's a great read, one of my favourites, you never quite know. No. So you can never be quite sure in this one. But yeah, it is Samuel L. Jackson. He's back from space and he's kicking Skrull ass.
It looks good. And of course, we've got the return of Kobe Smulders and Don Cheadle, interestingly.
Yeah.
And we've got Kingsley Ben Adir, Olivia Colman, and Emilia Clarke. I didn't recognise in the trailer, but of course, I'd had a few beers at the time. Watched it again before we started recording. I went, oh, yeah, there she is.
I'm surprised you could see anything done in that state. But yeah, I think she dyed her hair. And she's only in it for 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds.
It's literally a brief.
Yeah, you blink and you miss her. She's holding a gun. She says something, a sentence, and then that's it. So I don't know if they've announced her role, but it's not going to be small fry. It's going to be quite an important one because she isn't B or C list, is she?
No. You've had 8 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she ain't going to come cheap.
Terminator film. So I'll be interested to see what her role is, who she's going to be. I guess we probably won't have long to wait, given that we've been given a trailer for it.
Yeah.
But talking of Don Cheadle, he is, of course, returning for Armor Wars, which will lead right after Secret Invasion. Yes,
indeed. Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of news on this one.
No. A standalone series. I don't know whether there'll be enough interest around Don Cheadle. I think, no offense to Don Cheadle, I think he's a good roadie. I think people are going to be more interested to see kind of what goes on in Armor Wars now. I think I mentioned this before. If people listen to us for a while, Armor Wars actually is one of my most favourite comic book arcs. It's the ultimate version of the MCU, the Marvel Universe, not the MCU. And in that one, I think it's after the events of one of the large-scale X-Men fallouts on Magneto. And the whole world essentially is flooded and is all gone to pot. And Ghost, which should be the actual iteration of Ghost, not the rubbish Ant-Man 2 Ghost, which we'll talk about no doubt in a little while. Ghost ends up stealing some dangerous Stark technology. And Tony Stark is racing across the world to fight off people who have got his technology because, his tech's out there and he's got to try and reclaim it and fight off people. And it's a really good comic book arc. So if that sounds anything of interest, then I'd hugely recommend it, and definitely before the series comes out, because the cost will just go through the roof. And actually, you can still pick up probably a graphic novel for about £7-8, and it's really, really worth it. It's one of my favourites. It's wonderfully penned. It's a great storyline, and it's unique. And I do wonder how far they're going to go with this, because of course, Armor Wars will no doubt kick off. I say, of course, it may not, but I'd recommend that it would kick off a link in with Ironheart. Which no doubt we'll talk about in a second. But I do think going back to what I was saying before, I do think people will be interested to see kind of what other armors we'll see. We've seen bits in Iron Man 2, with the War Machine being built and Whiplash. What else is out there? We haven't seen any other armored enemies or baddies, really. I think there's even Spider-Man 2. There was a Rhino at the very end, but that was a glimpse. What else is out there? Who else is building stuff? Because Hammer was in Iron Man 2, which I think is a much maligned film. I quite enjoy it. It's my guilty pleasure. I think I said it before. I'll say it again. I quite like that film. It is a bit of a dumpster fire, but I quite like it. And yeah, since Hammer hasn't been around, who else has been building? So I think it's going to be a really interesting one. I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I don't know if I'm really here for Don Cheadle and Rhodes, but I'm definitely here to see who he's up against.
Well, talking to Don Cheadle, he actually announced this week that his contract is up with MCU.
Yeah, I heard. But in reality, I mean, he'll probably sign on for probably 4 more, but they can be, a bit like anyone else really. It could be a 2-minute job, or it could be a 2-hour film. That I reckon he'll renew. He can't not.
Yeah, because you've got Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. I mean, how do you not again have a big event like Endgame? And
he's got to
bring some of his characters back. But talking about Ironheart, they actually announced the villain at D23.
Yes.
Now, of course, if anyone isn't aware, tech-savvy Ironheart is played by Dominique Thorne, and she will be facing off against a magic user called the Hood. And he is going to be played by Anthony Ramos. Now, if anyone has seen Hamilton on Disney Plus, he is in that, and he is phenomenal.
I haven't, but I have read The Hood. There's a standalone series because I was intrigued when I came across. I don't know what edition it was, or which graphic novel, but I actually picked up The Hood, Blood from Stones, and it actually follows the character. And it has in there in the Kingpin and some other well-known faces from like the street-level underworld. So if people are not familiar with the Hood, she's quite an interesting character. I can hugely recommend that graphic novel, but any other ones will do, just to kind of give you a kind of introduction to him. But he's an interesting character for sure.
I do actually recommend some of the Ironheart stuff as well. So it sort of plays off after Tony Stark basically gets snuffed off by Captain Marvel in Civil War 2.
Yes.
So we're introduced to this 15-year-old kid, lives in the suburbs with her mum, and she is busy in the garage building her own armour, as you do. But she's one of these intelligent kids, sort of Reed Richards style intelligence, where she doesn't really switch off. No, it's really good. And I know a lot of people complaining, why is she getting her own series? She's only had 12 comic issues. Who fucking cares? It's a ding-dang delight.
Yeah, it really
Take
is.
my word for it.
No, 100%. And look, we've got a large hole, absence, vacuum from RDJ. So we need something. And, the aforementioned Rhodey, he's still going to be there, but for how long? And actually, why would you not have another Armored Avenger? And no doubt we'll get the same moaners saying, it's, what are they saying?
It's woke.
Woke, or was it she-male, or effectively saying, like it's an agenda, it's being female-centric to make a point. And actually, whilst I can see they're investing a lot of time and effort in female leads, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
I think the state of the MCU, not for story phase 4, but for the variety of characters, in a much better place. I think it's a much better reflection of society now that we don't have white guys, middle-aged white guys, wielding weapons and kicking ass. We've got a whole array and diverse. It's not perfect, but it's getting better in terms of diverse range of people who look different and sound different, because that is society.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I think it's great.
I mean, Marvel has moved along with the times. We're not punching Nazis anymore. We are dealing. I mean, Marvel's always been political, and I don't think people sort of quite realise that. Even from like the 1930s through to now, they've actually kept up with us as humans, and as the generations go on, people want to be represented. You know, black, white, Asian. It really winds me up when I see this stuff on social media. People calling out, "Oh, She-Hulk's woke, and she's not afraid to go out at night," and blah blah blah. But this is just it. You know, I worry about my other half when she has to go for a run in the dark because you don't know who's out there.
No,
you know, there are predators. It's just the way of life.
Yeah, and I think those people are tone deaf, right? I mean, they clearly want to pick a fight because of the internet, or they're blinkered because perhaps they come from a place of privilege. But either way, I think it's good that they're challenged and they're reminded that that's actually not society. And as I say, I think we're all the better for it, because what we often see on TV actually isn't represented in life. And it's a bit old now, isn't it? We need something that actually looks and feels like the real world as much as it possibly could or should be. So, yeah, I'm 100% behind you, Dan. I agree wholeheartedly.
Do you know what? I fight the good fight sometimes. Sometimes I just can't hold my tongue and I have to just have a little nibble. I'm a lot better than I used to be, but yeah, sometimes I have to sort of either put my phone down and just turn it off. You know, I think we talked about this in what grinds our gears. You know, social media is such a dank place that there just isn't a lot of positivity out there.
No. And sometimes you just have to call out stupidity for what it is.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Moving on to Loki. So Ki-Hai Kwan has joined the cast. Now, anyone unfamiliar with Ki-Hai Kwan, he was in the Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. But yes, he is joining Loki for season 2. Again, we don't know what his role is. But the cast actually took a break from filming to appear on the stage at D23. Fantastic Four. Of course, we always knew this was coming.
Yes.
The director has been confirmed, and it is, of course, Matt Shakman. Question, though, Alex, are you disappointed that there was no announcement for the cast?
Yes, no. Yes, because I think we all know what we think the cast should be, but no, in as much as I hope they haven't, because they need to lock down and make sure they actually get who they want for the price they want. There are some rumours going around that we're not going to get who was it who played in Strange?
Oh, John Krasinski.
Yeah. There are some rumours to say that Krasinski actually was just a nice nod, but just a nod to the
Fan
audience.
service.
Yeah. And we're not going to actually get him or that version in 616. And I hope that's not the case, because I think Krasinski, I think people will be upset. They'll still watch it, right? Because they're going to print money with the Fantastic Four reboot. But I hope they're holding back because, you know, there's a clash with Emily Blunt because she's directing or she's playing a role in something or other, and they don't want to announce it because they want, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm hoping. So yes, but no, Dan. How about yourself?
No, I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
100%. In fact, maybe it's something we could talk about a future episode where we've had a bit more time to think about it. But who would your dream cast be for the Fantastic Four? Let's put out to our listeners as well. We'll put in our contact details at the end as always. So get in touch, leave us a voice message, or hit up our socials. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, let us know.
On to Captain America: New World Order. We have a confirmed villain, Alex.
We do.
Tim Blake Nelson, who was in the 2008 Incredible Hulk. Now they're teasing his gamma radiation-induced supreme intelligence.
Is he the supreme leader? Is that what it's called, or the leader?
I think it is. Yeah, it's something like that. Not a villain that I'm too familiar with, but it could be interesting. I'm sure he's got sort of quite a big head or something. It's not like
Yes.
MODOK, it's someone else.
Yeah, no, he does have this intelligence with this overly elaborate large head. He's a mastermind, but he's not going to be doing the doing. He's going to have a team around him, henchmen. So it's going to be interesting to see actually who else joins alongside this nefarious leader, and kind of what that means in terms of New World Order, because that would indicate there's some kind of last superpower at play or threatening to take control of post-blip world. So yeah, be interesting to see how that one takes shape. And I'm looking forward to seeing more Mackie in that suit. He looked brilliant at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, 100%. It's going to be directed by Julius Onar as well. And of course, you said it's going to be in a world post-blip, and they have described this film as a very different vibe. So again, looking forward to that. Talking of Anthony Mackie, his buddy, Sebastian Stan, is going to be returning for the Thunderbolts.
Indeed.
Along with some other familiar faces. Now we're going to be joined by Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, who I very much enjoyed in Hawkeye.
Yeah, good. What about the Black Widow film?
Red Guardian, David Harbour.
No. But what do you think about Florence Pugh though, playing Yelena in the Black Widow film? Did you like her in that?
Yeah, no, I liked her in that as well. I sort of liked how she took the piss a little bit out of the superhero landings and stuff.
Funny. Yeah, tongue in cheek. Yeah,
very enjoyable. But yeah,
relief.
So I got a bit ahead of myself there talking about the Red Guardian, but David Harbour is returning.
No, indeed, yes.
I do love a bit of David Harbour, and I think that's probably why I love Stranger Things right now.
Yeah.
Taskmaster, played by Olga fuck me.
Kurylenko.
It's happened. Yeah.
So he's on the red wine, guys, but you always knew it was going to happen. Olga Kurylenko. Wasted, I think, in Black Widow. I wonder whether she will get some kind of justice in this film. Suspect not, but yeah, a lot of people weren't happy with that interpretation of the character.
I just thought it was dreadful, to be honest. I like the fight scene on the bridge. We did review Black Widow all the way back in summer last year. It's been a while. Feels like a long time that episode was done, but yeah, just disappointing for a villain, I think. When you look at Taskmaster from the comics, yes, same sort of abilities to recreate someone's moves, but as a character, just
not the same.
Just
not
shy.
The same. Yeah.
This is the one you've mentioned you had a bit of beef with, Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen.
Yeah. I don't really have anything against Hannah John Kamen. I quite liked her in her sci-fi program that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm just having a quick look to remind myself what she was on. Let's have a quick look. She was apparently in Ready Player One.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember that. And the Killjoys. So Killjoys was a TV series, sci-fi. She was a leader of some mercenaries, effectively. That ran between 2015 and 2019. Low budget sci-fi, but it's still quite enjoyable to watch. And she was quite good in that. But in Ant-Man and Wasp, Jesus, bad. And I say that because the aforementioned Armor Wars comic series, it was such a formidable foe for Iron Man, the ultimate Iron Man. Who that version of Iron Man is basically a walking war machine. It is. He's got rockets. He's got lasers. He's got far more tech than the MCU Iron Man has. And he was struggling up against Ghost, who could phase in and out of things, and again had her own armor. This version in Ant-Man and Wasp was just rubbish, underpowered, very weak. And as I say, I just don't think that Kamen had a particularly good role to play there. Was the script work? Did she didn't gel with the cast? I don't know, but It was really disappointing. And so I'm really surprised that she's part of the Thunderbolts. I think, again, it could be hopefully, a turning around for the character and for the actor, but I'm not excited.
No, I mean, I don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp was a particularly well-written film anyway.
Mm-mm.
It's not my go-to film. If I was going to pick up an MCU film, I probably would just go for Ant-Man, which I think's a phenomenal film. I watched it the weekend.
Yeah, I watched it 2 weeks ago. Brilliant.
Oh, so good. I love it.
Still one of my top 5.
It's
one of my top 5. It's phenomenal.
just so good. So good. I always refer to the train tracks where you got Thomas the Tank.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's about to hit him and crush, not Ant-Man, but Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the train just like topples over. But
Yeah,
because
it
it
just falls
zooms
over.
out, it's just like, oh, it's actually not that dramatic. But that size, it's like, yeah.
And the briefcase scene. I mean, we keep on talking about it, but it's just a wonderful scene to watch. As they're bouncing around inside the briefcase, and the helicopter goes down, and then it ends up just plopping into. Again, it's very grand in their world, but in the outside world, it's to plop into a swimming pool, and then they become enlarged again. And the family who are cooking their dinner in the barbecue are obviously scared shitless because they've got Yellow Jacket about to vaporize them. And then he gets kicked into a bug zapper, isn't it? It's a mosquito catcher. And again, there's just a puff of smoke. And it's just very witty and very enjoyable. But in contrast, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't.
I think there is a film review somewhere on our weekly roundup days.
Yes, there is. I'll try and dig it out, and I'll pop it in the description below. But it's worth obviously watching to understand what you'll talk about in a second, no doubt, which is about Ant-Man 3 and with the reference of Kang, but also because of the Thunderbolts, it's good just to understand if you haven't seen it. But I'm just not excited. I'm not excited for the lineup, Dan, because I've got, of course, alongside Hannah John Kamen, we're going to have Wyatt Russell again.
Oh, I did like him as US agent. I just thought he was a complete dickbag.
Yeah, perfect, because everyone hated him. And that's exactly what the casting was phenomenal. I think we said that in the review. It's absolutely spot on. But where does he go from here? Does he lead the team? I don't know.
I think the rumor is that it's going to be Florence Pugh that leads the team.
Why not? It's a strong actress.
And of course, we've got Valentina, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She returns as well.
She was at the end of Widow and in Captain America Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And she's like almost the boss putting them together. Is that Valentina? It is, isn't it?
That's it.
Okay. So that's your Nick Fury, I guess, if you're doing 1-for-1.
This is essentially the MCU's version of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Just worth mentioning. There are some good Thunderbolt comics out there, actually. There was one that ties into Secret Empire, and it's quality. And I think there's another run which ties into a comic series or an event called Devil's Reign, where the Kingpin puts his own Thunderbolts together, which hasn't got to yet.
There's also another one in Siege, the comic arc Siege, which was very good, and also in the original Civil War, in fact.
Yes.
The comics, not of course the MCU, 2 different events. I think the comic book is better than the film, but they're different things in their own rights. In that one, you got the Thunderbolts, and they are evil bastards, and they're out obviously then to hunt down those who haven't signed up to the Superhuman Restoration Act. So they have kicked around. It's not a new concept. Are you worried though, Dan, in terms of how well or badly, should I say, Suicide Squad has been received? Do you think that this will have the similar kind of effect, or do you think people will be on board because they recognise it and it is, at the end of the day, Kevin Feige and Marvel? Not a leading question.
I mean, it could have the same effect, which is quite worrying. I didn't mind the first Suicide Squad film, and I didn't actually mind the second one either.
I haven't seen the second one.
It's better. It's a bit more gorier, if that's what you're after. Might be a bit more up your street. But I don't know. There's nothing really in this cast to suggest that. I don't know. There's nothing sort of really strong to carry it. And maybe if they potentially bring in Tim Roth as the Abomination.
Yeah.
Or bring that Daniel Brawl as Zemo. Get him off the fucking raft. Bring him back. Yeah, I think he'd be quality in this team as well.
No, definitely.
Bunch of misfits. They're not going to get along because you can tell they're all egotistical bastards. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, but I don't know. I'm a little bit
trepidation.
Worried. Yeah. Daredevil, Born Again.
Yeah.
This has been confirmed. It is not a season 4. So
it is not.
If you're expecting a follow-on from the Netflix series, this ain't it. But it was great to see Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio provide an update for the upcoming Disney Plus series. Now, production doesn't kick off until next year, but Kevin Feige and Vincent D'Onofrio were eager to chat about the new show coming to Disney Plus. Now, apparently fans went wild when Charlie Cox appeared on stage.
Too right.
And it is going to be 18 episodes.
Oof.
It's going to be a biggie, but I'm looking forward to it.
Charlie deserves so much more credit than what he's had on the Marvel Netflix stuff. He's a wonderful actor anyway. If he had a fan club, I'd be part of it. He's brilliant. So I'm so glad that he's got the limelight and actually he's being welcomed back into the MCU. Along with Vincent, he's a fantastic actor as well. There's no denying. But yeah, I think this is going to be a soft reboot. After the blip, it's the perfect opportunity to kind of move the character forwards. That's me guessing, but you can't have the same actor unless you're saying that the Marvel Netflix stuff took place in a different universe, which could be the case. And that's how to get around it, because otherwise you're bringing along Iron Fist, which was an absolute car crash. They could do so much better.
Awful.
I don't know. But we shall see. But they're in very safe hands, and I'm very much looking forward to
it. Talking to Charlie Cox, he was in the mid-season trailer for She-Hulk. I haven't seen this week's episode yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing him return to our screens after No Way Home.
Well, bits of him are featured, Dan. That's all I will say.
Yeah.
But it's still good.
Okay. I've actually had the pleasure of seeing Charlie Cox on stage with Tom Hiddleston.
Of course.
I say years ago, back in 2019, when they were doing a show called Betrayal, which was very good. And seeing Tom Hiddleston angry eat was delightful.
Interesting stuff.
In fact, I think at one point he actually nearly choked in that scene, because obviously angry eating and he's trying to wolf it down, and somehow he recovers, which is just amazing. It just shows the acting talent of them both.
Yes.
To be able to sort of pull it back. And of course, Charlie has to sort of improvise as well to allow T-Heads to recover. It's phenomenal stuff. But let's go back to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is out February the 17th next year. Looking forward to this one. Hopefully
beginning of phase 5, isn't it?
Yeah, I really hope this is better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it should be, because Jonathan Majors is returning as Kang.
Yes.
But I don't think we're going to get the same Kang that was in Loki.
No.
Which is going to be... hopefully someone carks it. No one's died yet or of significance in phase 4 yet.
Well, you can't take the words right out of my mouth, Dan, because apparently, for those who were in the room at the time, there was a scene that was portrayed, and apparently the footage shows Kang making an offer to Scott. And he says, "I'm just a man who's lost a lot of time, like you, but we can help each other with that. someone stole something from me and you're the only one who can steal it back. So
Oh,
do we have a deal? Apparently, there's other things she said, which is effectively, do I know you? Did I kill you before? Aren't you an Avenger? And so I wonder whether we're going to get flashbacks to other members of the Avengers effectively still being alive post-blip, but facing off against that version of Kang in a different universe. Because in the comics, he's incredibly dangerous. We know that he is now the architect of a number of different things going on in the MCU. We just don't quite know it yet. And yeah, did I kill you? Kind of indicates that he's quite the force to be reckoned with. So it sounds like this film is going to be another heist film. How and why Kang can't get what he wants when he's so powerful and has to rely upon Ant-Man, who can also traverse the quantum realm, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I've got some positive thoughts on this, because I think you shared earlier on today, Dan, didn't you, with me, that the director of this one's also doing the Avengers Kang Dynasty films. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it will be a continuity of that film. It does kick off Phase 5. I think we're going to talk very soon about Phase 4, aren't we? And what it means for the MCU.
Yeah.
And our reflections. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I can't wait. And it's just around in the grand scheme of things, compared to everything else, it's just around the corner, isn't it?
It's going to be the first MCU film of 2023.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing Paul Rudd return as Scott Lang, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne. As I mentioned earlier, Jonathan Majors as Kang. We are going to see Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas return. And Cassie Lang is going to be played by yet another actress, Alex, Catherine Newton.
Indeed. That'd be the third version of the character, I guess, as we see before, during, and after the blip, isn't it?
Yeah. Paul Rudd actually had some really positive things to say about the Ant-Man series. He said, the first movies are so near and dear to my heart, and I was so excited to get ready to start this thing. This thing is bananas. And while it seems like a bit of an oxymoron, if something so small can do something so huge, this is going to be unlike anything you have seen from Marvel. And not to mention, Jonathan, he's incredible. It throws this whole thing into such new territory.
Yeah, and it's scary. If you're saying that, you know they're going to be throwing down.
Yeah. I mean, the only things that have really set things up for Phase 5, I would say, is probably No Way Home and Loki.
Yeah, agreed.
Nothing else really has or holds much significance to what's about to happen, I think. And last up, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I'm not sure I'm emotionally ready for this.
No.
And we're not far off from Wakanda Forever, as it's due out November the 11th.
Yeah, 2 months.
Now, Ryan Coogler shared an exclusive look at a scene and some highlights from the much-anticipated follow-up from 2018's Black Panther. It's been that long. Jeez. And cast members Angela Bassett, who was Queen Ramonda, Letitia Wright as Shuri, Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku, and Tenoch Huerta as Namor joined Coogler on stage, along with Big Kev. Now, in the story, the Wakandans fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. So they have written in. How he's died, we're not too sure. The heroes must band together to forge a new path for the kingdom. This also stars Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia. I'm not doing this any justice. I'm sorry, guys. Danai Gurira as Okoye. Florence Kasumba as Ao. Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams or Ironheart. Michaela Coel as Anika. Mabel Cadena as Namora. Namora, I guess that must be the Queen.
I guess so. I don't know.
Alex Livanelli as Atuma, and Martin Freeman returns as Everett Ross. Actually, I didn't mention this earlier, Alex. He was also in the trailer for Secret Invasion. I noticed.
Really? I'm not sure I picked up on that.
Very briefly, and I only picked up when I watched it without my beer goggles on.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
definitely worth checking out to see if you can pick him out. Any thoughts on Wakanda Forever?
Yeah, just same. I think as you said, Dan, and I think the rest of the internet. Just it's for obvious reasons. It's a very emotive film. It's probably art imitating life, but in a sad way, of course, with events the last couple of years. I did like the first Black Panther. I don't know though where this will take us and whether we'll still be that interested after the credits roll at the end of Wakanda Forever. I don't know. I don't know the direction of the Black Panther. I don't know whether people will still be on board with it. So
Yeah,
the jury will be out. I'm sure they'll do everything as they're supposed to justice. I just don't know whether, if when's all said and done, whether it'll still have the same shine and interest as a first film did. We'll have to see.
yeah. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was an immeasurable loss, without a doubt. Not just the MCU, but as overall as an actor and Hollywood. But yeah, I don't know. I imagine if Chadwick was still alive, this would be a very different story, and
Yeah.
we'd see Black Panther going toe to toe with Namor,
Namor, isn't it?
Namor. But alas, we're not going to get it. And to be honest, I think you'd be doing him an injustice by recasting him.
Yeah, you can't do it. But I think they've confirmed that in the closing parts of the first trailer, there'll be obviously another one close to the time in a couple of weeks. It is Shuri in the suit.
Yeah.
So Shuri will be the next Black Panther. Do we want that? I don't
know. Depends. I mean, Shuri as a character, I find very fascinating, but the actress, a bit more questionable. To be honest, I'm surprised Disney/Marvel kept her on after some of her views during the pandemic. So.
Well, I was going to say Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri. Say it for what it is. She is a COVID denier. I just don't know how anyone can get their head around that concept and then reinforce or have her as a leader actress. I don't know. I struggle with it. We shall see. Let's, I guess, judge her on her job and her skills and her ability to tell the story, as opposed to perhaps her own political views or otherwise. That's what I think I struggle with these days, because just an aside, social media gives people these platforms now where they can kind of share their innermost thoughts. Whereas, back in the day, our day, Dan, where there wasn't really that much internet really to easy get your hands on, you would never really hear or read about it, would you?
No.
Whereas now, someone could go on and they could be seen, videoed, there'll be sound bites, and we'd be like, well, we know the innermost thoughts of these people. And it's very difficult to be able to differentiate the person and their views and opinions, which you may or may not agree with, and the stuff they do on screen. We should be entirely judged separately. But it's very difficult in this scenario. So I got to do my utmost to try and give her the benefit of the doubt in terms of her craft, because that's the only way you can judge it. But I am struggling. I've got to be honest, Dan.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I have no doubt we'll go see it at cinema. We'll do an on-the-go episode probably, and then do a big review for our final thoughts. But I think that pretty much rounds up for Marvel, unless I've missed anything, Alex.
Let's have a quick look. There was Echo.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Which continues on the character from Hawkeye. I don't know how I felt about Echo, and I think I mentioned that when we did the season review. It does have Alakwa Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio comes back. We've got who else? We've got Graham Greene, Cody Lightning, Chask Spencer, amongst others. And this follows the character who almost has a redemption arc by the end of Hawkeye. And again, gives us some diversity in terms of an individual who can't hear. So she's deaf and she uses sign language, which is great to see on screen and gives representation for people with those abilities or disabilities. I don't know. Echo is an interesting character in the comics. I don't know if we've seen enough really to warrant a standalone program in the series. I don't know, but it's obviously got to have something behind it. And with Vincent making a return as the Kingpin, is only going to be a good thing. So I don't know. We haven't got a date for it. I know they're currently filming or due to wrap up soon. So we should hear something shortly. Where does that fit into the wider MCU? Will there be a Charlie Cox cameo? We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Oh, without a doubt, has to be.
Yeah.
I'll put a tenner on it. I'll get you a beer, Alex.
Yes, please.
That's 4 beers, roughly. Depends what you're drinking. Maybe 2 if you're craft beer hipster like me.
That is quality over quantity, but no, I'm a lightweight, so just give me a nice high street pint. Speaking of which, actually, I had a lovely set of beers in Italy. I had some lovely blonde tap beers, and Italian blonde beers you wouldn't think is a thing, but it was absolutely delightful, Dan. So, yeah, I've got a new niche market now that I want to tap into, which is Italian blonde, because that was absolutely delightful. Glugged it down before I knew it. Very dangerous stuff. Anyway, but yes.
I was going to say, it sounds a lot like the beers that I drink, but...
Yeah. But no, nothing else from Marvel, I think, Dan. That was a roundup for the MCU.
Let's set up the honourable mentions. This could be some good stuff. I'll kick it off. Let's head to Star Wars.
Yes.
First up, not Mando Season 3, that's next. Ahsoka.
Yes.
Now, this series is going to follow Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka Tano, but it's not exactly clear where the story's going to take her. We do know that the series will include Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, so it's very unlikely, or very likely, a prequel to the events of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. I haven't seen the latter yet.
No, same.
I still need to check it out. But since Vader is dead by then, but that's all we know. And it's still just a guess. But apparently, as of September 2022, Ezra Bridger is going to be in it, and he's going to be played by Eman Esfandi. And of course, as I mentioned, Mandalorian Season 3, which we did get a teaser trailer for, and it's coming out next year.
Good old Pedro Pascal.
Oh, I love Mandalorian. It feels like it's been ages since Season 2, where I actually cried at the finale. But yeah, it looks quite good. And it looks like we're going to have a bit more of Din Djarin teaming up with Grogu and having some more adventures. So the teaser trailer is out there. Go check that out.
Yes, please.
Anything from Star Wars your side, Alex? Because I know there was a few other things that were...
Yeah, so there's a short run on the series Andor, which is a lead up to, I guess, the original films. And that premiere is actually just around the corner. From the day of recording, about a week's time. So yeah, not long to go, but it's a short run. It's about 3 or 4 episodes long, not many. Have we got anything else here from Star Wars? Not to mention that people will be shouting, saying, "Yes, of course there is, Alex, Dan. There's these things." From us, probably not. But Andor definitely. That's just around the corner to say.
Nice. Going to head over to live Disney now. First up, we're not far off actually. It's going to be released on the 30th of September on Disney Plus. Hocus Pocus 2. It has been long time in the making. First one came out in 1993, but the latest trailer brings back the series trio of witches for more trouble and magic ahead. Anyone unfamiliar with Hocus Pocus, go check out the first one. And the three witches are played by Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. I think I've got that right, but as we all know, I do not do names justice on the topic.
You give it a best shot. I recently, interesting enough, last year saw Hocus Pocus for the first time. I don't think it's aged particularly well, but it is quite enjoyable. So if you haven't seen it, don't worry, because actually I think you can still get something out of it. Go give it a watch.
And the last one, which I found quite interesting, was Peter Pan and Wendy. And I'm thinking, oh, Dan, why have you chosen this? Well, it's because Jude Law's going to be playing Captain Hook. And this is going to be released sometime in 2023 on Disney Plus. And it was released with a poster to celebrate. So it's worth go checking that out as well. Anything from Disney's live films interest you, Alex?
A little bit of controversy, but all for the wrong reasons. A Little Mermaid. So there's a new teaser trailer out. The racists are coming out of the woodwork and having a go.
People kicking off because Ariel's going to be played by a black actress.
And so what? Yeah, and so what? So, again, the internet brings out the worst of people, but I think there's also a lot of support for the actress as well. So, it is only a teaser trailer. It's due out in a year's time. I'm sure there'll be lots of positivity, and those naysayers will be quietened down or shown a cliff and pushed over the edge. But yeah, the Little Mermaid. This is, and also that's aside, by the way, just to make it clear, that's to bookend this one. But I do still struggle with Disney's need to make all of the classics a live action version, a companion. They've recently put Pinocchio on Disney Plus. I haven't seen it, but that's been panned in as much as it's not doing anything new. It's in fact a carbon copy of the old kind of 50s hand-drawn animated film. You may say that's not a bad thing, and actually, due to the very nature of it being live action, it is something new, but people say it doesn't really port across very well because it is a product of its time. It was a different social background, a different concept. And animation, you can just get away with certain things, can't you? Yeah. Whereas live action, if you're doing exactly one for one, it can look odd. And I think people have said that's that kind of conflict between the animated version and the live action one is quite jarring. So I don't know. I don't want to put anyone off watching it. I do need to watch it myself. I'm just aware that across the board, critics and the viewers alike have said it's not great. I don't understand why Disney continue to do this. I thought Aladdin was a bit of a misstep, but I did enjoy Will Smith to some extent, and the songs were quite good. We both mentioned it before, didn't we, that we weren't expecting much, and actually we did come away enjoying it. That's really the only one. And there must be money in it. I don't know. I just don't know. No. Everyone I speak to is just nonchalant. But surely that doesn't bring in a lot of money. I don't know. I don't know, Dan.
Just to sort of go on record, the actress playing Ariel was Halle Bailey.
Yes.
And interestingly, which I think might suit the role, is Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. I mean, I'm up for it. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll no doubt talk about it in a year's time. Well, it's not even a year's time. It's out on the 26th of May.
But no, I'll definitely give it a go. I mean, 2022, modern man, don't mind admitting this. I enjoyed The Little Mermaid when I was a kid growing up. It's a lovely story. Is it a Hans Christensen one, Little Mermaid?
Uh,
Right.
here we go. This is where we Google live on air.
Yeah, he's a Hans Christian Andersen.
Oh, nice.
He's a Danish author behind a lot of actually phenomenal stories. So he, one of your favorites in Claire's, The Emperor's New Clothes. He's behind The Mermaid, The Snow Queen, The Ugly Duckling, Thumbelina. Quite old school storylines, but wonderful kind of semi-modern fairy tales. Yeah, he's behind Little Mermaid. So actually, just I saw Little Mermaid statue when I went to Copenhagen.
Oh, nice.
In February. Not an awful lot to see. So if you go to Copenhagen, guys, or Dan, only do it on a bus tour. Don't go all the way out just to go and see it, because it's literally a stone's throw from the water's edge. It's just a statue of a mermaid. Looks very nice, bronze statue on top of a plinth, but that's it. There's nothing else around there.
Oh, that sucks.
So to do on the bus tour, get off, have a quick look, get back on the bus, and see the rest of the city. But it is in Copenhagen, so go give it a butcher's if you're in the area.
On to animated Disney, just the one from me. Mufasa, The Lion King. So this is going to be a prequel movie coming from Barry Jenkins, the Academy Award nominated director of Moonlight. Well, that's pretty exciting on its own, Alex. Disney didn't release much new information to the public during D23, except that Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen will return as Timon and Pumbaa, respectively. But yeah, I'm quite interested to see what they do with a prequel, because to be honest, the sequels of The Lion King were questionable.
Yes, indeed. Quite.
What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, the only other mention I'd say is Elemental, which bit
of Pixar there. That was on my list.
Yeah. So the synopsis is: in a city where water, fire, land, and air residents live together, a fiery young woman and a go-with-the-flow guy are about to discover something elemental. How much they actually have in common. But it looks like a standard Disney Pixar jaunt. It looks fun, looks vibrant, looks colourful. Something to look forward to. I think that's going to be slated for June 23.
Yep. Leah Lewis is Ember, and Mamadou Athie is Wade. And do you say it comes out in June 2023?
That did, yeah, next year.
The last one from me to wrap up D23 from Pixar was Inside Out 2.
Yes.
I absolutely adored the first film.
Clever.
I saw it in the cinema. One with that had been 2015 release in the summer. I loved it. I just thought it was just such a unique concept. And of course, they're now going to be dealing with the complicated emotions of a teenage Riley. I know what I was like as a teenager. I was a little shit, and a hormonal one at that.
The teenage years are so difficult, Dan, aren't they? Like, I don't even know how you make it any easier, because I didn't have a challenging childhood by any stretch. At least I don't think I did. But it's not easy, is it? There's so much going on, so much social pressure and expectation. Yeah, tough. So I think there'll be a lot in there for everyone to kind of recognize and acknowledge, and obviously enough for the kids to kind of still have some fun with. So yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, and yeah, I can't wait for the second. Should be good fun.
Amy Poehler is returning as Joy, but apparently, according to reports, Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling may not be coming back, but we'll see. Either way, the movie is directed by Kelsey Mann, and it's due to be released in the summer of 2024. So we've got a little while to go for that yet, but you know, as we know, time is irrelevant, and it's going to fly by.
Indeed.
Well, that's it. That's our D23 episode.
It is
in the bag. So plenty to look forward to, especially for us, Alex, our bread and butter in Marvel, and potentially a lot of film reviews in the future.
Yeah, and that's at the beginning. I think there's lots to look forward to. I think they gave away just enough, but not too much because they could show their hand. And specifically with the MCU, Phase 4 is such a mess. And I think if they gave too much away, I think there'll be big reveals towards the end of Phase 4, perhaps Phase 5. And I think it could spoil it. So I think keep us guessing, but just enough to kind of keep us interested. And I think they have. Because Phase 4 is so confusing, I think a lot of people are wondering what's going on and where's it going, and are they still interested? So yeah, I think there's still enough to keep us all wanting to see more. And at the end of the day, that's what makes the money, isn't it? So yeah, a good event.
Yeah. Talking of Marvel, that is probably going to be one of our next episodes. We want to know who your favourite and your least favourite MCU villains are. So one great example we had, we've already had a listener write into us. Interestingly, he chose Ultron, which we'll no doubt discuss as his favourite. Least favourite was Aldrich Killian. And an honourable mention for both was Taserface.
Taserface?
Guardians 2.
That's why I haven't seen Guardians 2 that many times, because it's not a particularly great film. But yes, okay, interesting options there. But look, if you want to disagree with that particular listener, or if you have some of your own, get in contact. Let us know. We've got some wonderful contact details that Dan's about to list off for the gazillionth time. Dan, how can people get in contact if they want to let us know their thoughts and feelings?
Well, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. The handle is @onthetopicpod. We have a Gmail, which is onthetopicpodcast@gmail.com. And if you follow any of those socials, you will see a link to Anchor. So follow that link. It will ask if you want to use your device to record a message. And of course, you will say yes. And you can be a part of the show like some of our previous listeners. I don't know what I'm doing on TikTok, Alex. I have no fucking idea.
No one knows what's going on with TikTok.
I have no idea. All I seem to do is scroll through videos, and I get all these weird, like, pimple popping videos.
Oh.
It's a minefield. And apparently, if I drink coffee and lemon, I can lose weight, which is the biggest pile of bullshit going. Guys, there's cunts on the internet. Don't listen to that rubbish. Coffee and lemon with a bit of hot water is not going to make you lose weight, okay?
A healthy diet and some exercise will.
I just realised I dropped the C-bomb, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm not going to slap an E onto this one, but hey, it will be for the first time, Dan.
Oh, it was the second ever episode I've ever said it. And of course, that was in the previous episode, What Grinds Your Gears 2022, which is worth a listen. And Alex, we've got WordPress.
We do, yes, our website, all lowercase, all one word, on the topic podcast.wordpress.com. Go have a look and go give it a read. On there is our ugly mugs, our bios. We've got links to our affiliate content site, Morbid and Mundane, who sells some wonderful garments and t-shirts. And we've got a whole back catalogue on there. So if you're not having a particular preference of a podcast player, we have all of them that you can stream direct from the website. Then go give it a listen. And also sign up to our newsletter so you can be informed as and when our content drops. So go give it a visit and go have a look around.
Definitely. And I didn't mention some of the other upcoming episodes, which will probably be out in the near future. Keep us in the loop if you're a Cobra Kai fan. We want your thoughts on season 5. So I've just finished it. It's a ding-dang delight. And, of course, She-Hulk.
Yes.
Because that is our bread and butter here at the OTT headquarters. Bit of Marvel. But that wraps it up for another week.
It does. So for this week, I am going to put some beer goggles on and go watch some trailers. I'm Alex.
Wonderful. And I'm going to go kick the Taskmaster out of the Thunderbolts team because I feel like I could do better. I've been Dan.
And we'll see you next time.